Everything around you has shifted, and that unsettling tingle you feel isn't your imagination. It's the undeniable call of your destiny. Chosen ones, this moment marks the first day of a life so transformed. Your old fears no longer fit you. You pray for answers. You beg for clarity. Well, here it is. If you stay with me for at least 12 minutes, you'll discover how to harness the very force that's been trying to reach you all this time. Right now, like this message, subscribe and comment 77 below to declare your openness to the universe. Then, in your own natural tone, leave a second comment, ready for what's next. Doing this sets an unbreakable chain reaction in motion, one that promises tangible changes and a season of transformation unlike anything you've experienced. Chapter 1. You feel the pull toward a higher calling. Everything in your life so far has felt like a dress rehearsal for something greater. You've sensed it in those quiet moments, like a whisper in your spirit telling you there's more. Yet, every time you inched closer to that more, some unforeseen obstacle rose up. A job fell through, a relationship dissolved, or your own self-doubt convinced you to retreat. Over time you began to question if you were making it all up. But you're not. This subtle, almost magnetic force pulling at your heart is the undeniable nudge from God, beckoning you toward the destiny that was always yours. It's as if you're standing on the edge of a threshold, glimpsing a world where your gifts aren't just acknowledged, they're celebrated, where your dreams don't just exist in your head, they manifest in your hands. The fear, of course, is that it might vanish once you commit. Maybe you've tried before, only to be slammed by disappointment. People mocked you for thinking you could rise above your circumstances, or they left you feeling foolish for having hopes so grand. Their voices grew louder than your own intuition, making you shrink yourself to fit a life that never reflected your divine blueprint. Still, the pull resists. It haunts you in the best way, reminding you there's something inside you that demands expression. You might have tried to numb it through distractions, work, social media, relationships that went nowhere, but the calling refuses to be silenced. At times, it feels like a blessing and a curse, but deep down, you know it's a blessing, a grand invitation that sets you apart as one of God's chosen ones. Today, though, is different. That intangible pull has arrived in a physical form, this message. Your prayers for a sign are being answered right now. The proof? You're still reading. That means some part of you has already decided you can't go back to the old ways of dull routine and unfulfilled longing. You've glimpsed the possibility of a new life, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. This marks a pivotal turning point, the official start of your transformation. The biggest hurdle is that final leap of faith, telling yourself it's okay to want more, to believe your unique gifts aren't accidents but soul-level assignments. The world might not understand. It might even resist. Yet, none of that matters if you're convinced in your spirit of the path you must take. The truth is, your intuition was always right. It simply needed your permission to speak louder than the naysayers. Now that you're listening, you stand at the threshold of a brand new existence, where everything you once thought impossible becomes a stepping stone to your destiny. All you have to do is say yes to the pull. Chapter 2. You're breaking free from old patterns. You wake up each morning feeling the residue of your past clinging to you like cobwebs, memories of betrayals, family feuds, heartbreak, and failures that once defined you. Each thread of this web was woven from the times you settled for less, listened to the wrong people, or sabotaged yourself out of fear. Chosen ones, it's no accident that those old patterns are crumbling now, right at the moment you need your breakthrough the most. Have you noticed how, lately, what used to tempt or distract you suddenly feels hollow? Foods you craved, social circles you forced yourself to belong to, or habits you once clung to for comfort. They're losing their grip. That's because God is cutting the cords that tethered you to a stale version of yourself. You're done mistaking punishment for discipline or chaos for excitement. All the drama that used to suck you in now feels exhausting, even pointless. This is your spirit's way of telling you that everything old must dissolve to make space for the immense blessings poised to arrive. It's not about disowning your past, but understanding that it shaped you for a future that demands you stand at full strength. If you've felt lonely or misunderstood, it's because you've been extracting yourself from situations that no longer align with who you're becoming. You're not the same person who tolerated toxic relationships or stayed silent to keep the peace. You've graduated from that era. The surprising thing is how quickly these old patterns dissolve once you take the first step. At first, you might fear that leaving behind what's familiar, no matter how painful, would plunge you into isolation. But the exact opposite is true. As you detach from what was never meant for you, you magnetize the people, opportunities, and wisdom that resonate with your higher calling. It's like brushing away dust from a hidden gem. Suddenly, the brilliance that was always there gleams in the light. Don't be shocked if people from your past try to reel you back with the same games that once worked. They may throw guilt trips or remind you of times you fell short. Stand firm. You've outgrown those manipulations. Also, watch out for your own self-sabotaging tendencies. Patterns like procrastination, people-pleasing, and craving external validation might surface again, attempting one last sabotage before you fully ascend. Recognize them for what they are, relics of an old identity that no longer applies. Yes, it might sting to realize how much time you spent stuck in cycles that did nothing but drain you. Yet here's the good news. Every lesson gleaned from that painful stretch of your life now fuels your elevation. You've become sharper, more discerning, and, ironically, more compassionate, especially towards yourself. As you dismantle these patterns piece by piece, you create a vacuum that the universe is eager to fill with new blessings. Before you know it, your biggest complaint will shift from "why me?" to "how could all this grace possibly be for me?" Chapter 3. You must start documenting your journey. You remember moments from your past so vividly, the day you decided you'd had enough of feeling like an outcast, the night you swore you wouldn't settle for mere survival. Yet, you rarely captured those breakthroughs in writing or in any tangible form, so they faded with time. Now, chosen ones, God is nudging you to record every pivot, insight, aha revelation, and every bit of growth you encounter, especially from this day forward. Why? Because these chronicles will become both evidence of your miracles and a roadmap for those who look up to you. When you commit your journey to paper, voice notes, or even video logs, something miraculous happens. Your faith anchors into the physical realm. Journaling or recording your thoughts takes your fleeting inspirations and plants them like seeds in fertile soil. Each entry builds upon the last, reinforcing the narrative that you are indeed on a divine mission. On days when self-doubt tries to snake its way back, you can look at your own documented history of triumphs and find undeniable proof that your life is guided by a higher power. People often think that writing down experiences is an indulgence or a chore, but realize that recording your journey is an act of spiritual stewardship. It's a declaration that your story matters, that the transformations you go through aren't random flukes, but orchestrated shifts meant to position you for greatness. In the future, you may be called upon to mentor others. Imagine how potent your testimony would be when you can say, "I was in your shoes on this exact date. Here's what God showed me. And here's how it changed everything." Of course, sharing your truth is scary. The vulnerability can leave you feeling exposed, and old voices might whisper, "Who are you to claim that your experiences are important?" But that's precisely the point. Such fear signals that your story holds power, power strong enough that lower energies want to silence you. Stand firm in your calling. Every word you jot down or record is a statement that you refuse to let fear dictate your narrative. This commitment to documentation also ties closely to your blessings. As you record each new gift or revelation, your gratitude compounds, attracting even more. It's a cycle of multiplication. Reflect, record, and watch blessings multiply, prompting deeper reflection and further documentation. Soon, the momentum becomes unstoppable. It's not about creating a highlight reel of perfect moments. It's about revealing a living tapestry of your spiritual evolution. What's more, you'll be amazed at how quickly you progress once you become mindful of your steps. Self-awareness is like a spotlight that forces darkness to flee. Patterns you once struggled to break will crumble faster because you're actively noticing them and seeking solutions. No more drifting on autopilot. You become the deliberate orchestrator of your growth. So pick up a pen, open a fresh document on your device, or start that personal vlog. From this day on, your story is unfolding in real time, and the world, yes, the world, will benefit from the record you keep. Chapter 4. You're clearing the way for miracles. You look around and see chaos, bills piling up, relationships fraying, deadlines and commitments swirling into a frenzy. The temptation is to assume that your breakthrough can't possibly arrive in the midst of such turmoil. But chosen ones, the miracle isn't deterred by disorder, it's often birthed in the middle of your mess. Right now, God is whispering, "Clear the way," urging you to make space in your heart, mind, and physical surroundings so blessings have room to land. Maybe you've wondered why everything feels so heavy lately. It's because you've been dragging around baggage, old grudges, regrets, cluttered closets, half-finished projects that block the energy flow. Decluttering isn't just a trendy concept, it's a spiritual principle. Think about how you feel when you tidy up a room. Suddenly you can breathe easier, think clearer. The same applies to your soul. Releasing emotional baggage or cleaning out your workspace symbolically tells the universe you're ready to receive something new. At first, it feels impossible to let go of certain items or memories because they're woven into your identity. But if these possessions or old narratives no longer serve your growth, they're weighing you down. The process might be emotional. You come across notes from people who once mattered or gifts from someone who broke your trust. Parting with these triggers can feel like a mini-death. But in reality, it's the birth of freedom. You honor your past by learning from it, not by clutching its remnants forever. It's also crucial to clear mental clutter. Chronic worry, negative self-talk, and worst-case scenario thinking create stagnant energy that repels blessings. Each time you catch yourself spiraling into fear, interrupt the cycle with a deliberate statement of faith. Affirm that no weapon formed against you can prosper, and remind yourself that you're grounded in a power far greater than any mortal obstacle. This mental shift may seem small, but it's transformative. Where fear wants to grow, faith begins to flourish. Don't forget about emotional clearing. Bitterness, envy, or unresolved anger may hide in corners of your heart. Yes, you have valid reasons for feeling hurt. But clinging to resentment is like clutching a live wire. It only harms you. When you release grudges, you free up space in your emotional realm for compassion, love, and renewed self-worth. This emotional clarity is the fertile ground in which miracles sprout. As you clear the way, physically, mentally, emotionally, you'll notice doors opening where there were none before. Opportunities that used to slip through your fingers now remain in reach. Messages from God become sharper. no longer drowned out by incessant mental chatter. Even your sense of identity morphs into something more solid and expansive. That's the point of clearing, to usher you into a state where you're not just hoping for miracles, but actively participating in their arrival. Whenever doubt creeps in, recall that God operates beyond your limitations. Miracles don't vanish because you have a messy room or an overloaded schedule. But if you truly want to thrive, start making room, even if it's just one shelf, one corner of your mind, or one old hurt you finally release. This symbolic gesture signals that you're serious about receiving. And once you do, the miracle you've been anxiously awaiting can finally rush in, unimpeded by the clutter you once thought you couldn't live without. Chapter 5. You must embrace the transition without fear. You remember the last time you tried to change your life, how it stung when people you cared about questioned your motives, or when your comfort zone pulled you back like a chain. Chosen ones, the transitional period between who you've been and who you're becoming is the most fragile, yet the most powerful phase. It's like standing on a rickety bridge that spans a vast chasm, your old life on one side and your new destiny on the other. The wind is howling, self-doubt creeps in, and you wonder if you have the strength to make it across. Fear is natural during such monumental shifts. You might fear failing or even succeeding. Sometimes the idea of triumph threatens to isolate you from the people who no longer resonate with your higher purpose. You worry, will I lose my friends if I start thinking differently? Will my family accuse me of changing too much? The truth is, yes, some relationships may fall away. But that loss is necessary for you to gain the new community that supports your elevated self. Not everyone is meant to walk across that bridge with you. In the midst of this transition, God's presence is more tangible than ever. Signs and synchronicities increase, as if heaven is sending postcards to remind you that you're on the right track. Maybe you see repeated numbers, like 77, which you've already commented below, indicating that spiritual forces are guiding your steps. Perhaps you stumble upon timely words from a stranger or find an old note that suddenly feels prophetic. These breadcrumbs are no accident. They're your lifeline, confirming you're not traveling alone. It's important not to run from the discomfort, the restlessness in your belly, the emotional roller coaster, the occasional doubt. They're all birth pains of your new self. Instead of condemning these feelings, interrogate them. Ask what they're trying to teach you. Each moment of friction is an invitation to align more deeply with the truth of who you are. It's God's way of polishing rough edges, ensuring you stand boldly in the new reality you're co-creating. One powerful tool during this phase is to remind yourself of past victories. Reflect on moments you conquered adversity, times you swore you wouldn't survive, but did. These memories become the motivational fuel that propels you forward, forging resilience in the face of uncertainty. Keep them close. Note them in your journal or speak them aloud when fear tries to invade your mind. You've overcome before, and you'll overcome again. Yes, the transition is intense, but it's also your gateway to unshakable joy. Once you cross, life on the other side will feel more like an unfolding destiny than a daily grind. The cost, letting go of outdated versions of yourself, is high, but the reward is beyond measure. Imagine waking up each day fueled by purpose, greeted by opportunities that match the dreams you once only dared to whisper. This is what waits for you if you push past the fear and take one courageous step after another. The wind may still howl, but your faith will guide you across, ensuring that the bridge you feared was actually the path you always needed. Chapter 6. Your story will propel others to break through. Your transformation isn't meant for you alone. God never wastes the journey of a chosen one. The struggles and triumphs you've documented are destined to guide others out of the darkness you once knew. Think of a younger version of yourself, starved for hope. Imagine how life-changing it would have been to discover someone's raw, honest account of making it through a trial that mirrored your own. Now realize that you can offer that very lifeline to someone else. It doesn't matter if you're not a speaker or an influencer. If you simply share what you've learned, whether in private conversations, on social media, or through casual mentorship, the right person will find your words at the right time. No story is too small. Your specific journey holds the seeds of freedom for those whose struggles mirror yours. You may question your credibility, wondering how you can guide others when you're still learning. Yet, authenticity has never been about perfection. It's about honesty. Admitting, "I'm still figuring it out, but here's what helped me," creates a powerful sense of connection. Vulnerability is magnetic. In a world awash with quick fixes and hollow bravado, people who find your message will recognize a kindred spirit and be reminded they're not alone. As you step into this role, through humble testimonies or intentional mentorship, expect both deep gratitude and occasional pushback. Some will see you as a lifesaver who spoke hope into their most desperate moment. Others may insist you haven't changed at all. But real transformation speaks for itself. Fruit eventually shows, regardless of any skepticism. Sharing your story also accelerates your own growth. Each time you recount your journey and highlight God's hand in it, your understanding deepens and your faith solidifies. This mutual enrichment becomes a blessing cycle. The more you pour into others, the more you receive in return, which only fuels you to help even more. Don't underestimate the power of this ripple effect. When someone breaks through because of your testimony, they often turn around and share their victory with others. Your single story becomes part of a broader tapestry of hope, a tapestry that extends well beyond your lifetime. That's the essence of being chosen. Your personal metamorphosis is part of a divine blueprint that elevates humanity one heart at a time. So keep recording your lessons. Keep shining light on your darkest chapters. What once felt like a liability is now your greatest asset, capable of unlocking freedom for countless souls. As your journey unfolds, remember that you, yes, you, are the catalyst this world has been waiting for. Chapter 7. You are ready to embark on your new life. Feel the electric charge of a new beginning. Every internal shift, every broken pattern, and every recorded breakthrough has led you to this threshold. The waiting is over. This is your green light from God to step into the life you once only dreamed of. Deep down, you've already decided. No more living on the sidelines. No more half measures. Your spirit resonates with an unspoken yes to claim every promise heaven offers. That thrilling sense of possibility may seem overwhelming, but it confirms you're in sync with your divine purpose. Transformation isn't lukewarm, it demands your wholehearted participation. You don't need every detail sorted out. Plans are tools, not prisons. You'll refine them as you go, guided by an intuition that's carried you this far. Hurdles will still arise, but you've proven you can face them with faith instead of fear. You're no longer the person who buckled under pressure. Adversity has molded you into someone stronger. Let gratitude propel you forward, reminding you of the distance you've covered. Every tear, every late-night prayer, every heartbreak has brought you to this pivotal unveiling of the life you were meant for. That's not mere coincidence, it's destiny. This is also your cue to deepen your relationship with God. Spiritual connections need continual tending. Keep praying, keep listening. Make room for divine whispers that out-volume the world's noise. This consistency will anchor you when life tries to shake your hard-earned foundation. The more you nurture that bond, the clearer your path becomes. Recognize, too, that your new life isn't just for you alone. Your transformation ripples out, inspiring those still in darkness. Being chosen means embodying a hope that others can catch, like a spark igniting their own potential. When you thrive, you illuminate possibilities for them, so take that first step. Dare to chronicle what happens next. Dare to dream bigger than before. Dare to introduce yourself anew as the person you've always known you could be. The long-awaited day has finally arrived, beckoning you to walk fully into it. Everything you need is already within you. Now, all that remains is to answer the call with a confident, "I'm ready." Let the world witness the miracle of your new life unfold, one faithful step at a time.